And I'm live. Woohoo! Hope some people are here. This is going to be a fun one. Why? Because I'm celebrating the 20th anniversary of my career as a published author. And I found photos. Yes, there will be photos. But I'm going to give everybody a minute to get on, so I'm not going to show any photos yet. I'm just going to blither for a minute. The weather here in New Jersey, believe it or not, is absolutely glorious. It starts out in the mornings in the 60s and gets up as just barely hits 80. The sun is shining, and I'm sorry to say this in front of all you people who are having horrible hot weather down in the south and west and hurricanes and oh my gosh, so much terrible weather. So I'm sorry to tell you that it's nice here, but it's really nice here and I'm enjoying it because New Jersey's not always so nice weather-wise. So you got to take it when you get it, right? Somebody's here. I see one viewer. If someone, whoever you are, if you would comment, that would be great so I know who you are, because Facebook doesn't tell me who you are. They just say that you're here. Somebody is here. One person is here. And hopefully there will be more. But of course, if people miss it, I do post these on my YouTube channel, and I will put the link in the comments to that. So you can always catch up. And still just one viewer. We'll give it another couple of minutes. Sorry to be boring, one viewer, whoever you are. Come on, write a comment for me, please. Oh, you know what? Let me just type in something, because sometimes it needs me to comment first before anybody else's comments come through. So there, I just typed it in because it's the closest thing on the keyboard when I'm looking at the keyboard on the screen, believe it or not. And yes, I'm wearing my silly party hat. I will be wearing silly party hats until the end of this month. So today, and we have one more live this month. 5 in a month. That's kind of amazing. Okay, so my viewer just left, sadly. And it's 2:03, so I'm just going to get started, and you can watch this on my YouTube channel. I'm Nancy Harkness, obviously. I am here doing my 7th Writer Unedited Facebook Live. And why is it called Writer Unedited? Because I'm literally sitting in the chair at my writing desk. My writing desk is right over there. My computer's right over there, I should say. I'm at the desk. No fancy background, except I always put my book and tulips in the background, because I took a webinar that said you should always have your book and a green plant in the background. I don't happen to have a green plant, so I have silk tulips. Good enough. And so the only exciting thing about my appearance, other than my silly hat, is I have new glasses, new computer glasses. I don't know if you can see. They have a little bit of sparkle down here, because I love a little bit of sparkle. I think every life should have a little bit of sparkle. So I'm excited about my new computer glasses, not to mention I can see better with them, which helps. Once a year I treat myself to new glasses. Mine are expensive because I have terrible eyesight and I wear progressive lenses, so my non-computer glasses cost a fortune, but I wear them all the time, so I figure I deserve a new pair every year, whether I need them or not, right? So I am celebrating the 20th anniversary of my career as a published author. 20 years ago in August 2003, A Bridge to Love came out, my debut novel, in mass market paperback, because see the size, it's little compared to Royal Caleva Gabrielle. And back then there was no digital, so everything came out in mass market paperback or hardcover, pretty much. I guess they had trade paperback back then, but romances didn't come out in trade paperback for the most part. So, but it was pretty. I had shiny writing on the cover. They actually put the George Washington Bridge on the cover, which is an important part of the story. And I was, as I've mentioned before, really afraid they would just put like the Golden Gate or something, because there are a lot more pictures of the Golden Gate because it's more picturesque. But luckily I got the GW. So 20 years ago, I was a debut author, and I have some photos that I'm going to show you that I found of that year, which are I thought were fun. Hopefully, you'll think they're fun too. But before we get on to that, oh, and here I have to do this. Happy anniversary to me. Happy anniversary to me. Happy anniversary, A Bridge to Love. Happy anniversary to me. Unfortunately, Skoda is not here sleeping in the cat bed for me to wake up because that happened once and that was pretty entertaining. I know, I'm a mean mom. Okay, so just a couple of announcements first. Royal Kaleva is now available in audiobook. Woohoo! It's on Audible. So all of you audiobook fans can get it there. I actually didn't know it was already available because the audiobook people told me it wasn't going to be out until September 1st, but one of my wonderful readers told me she had gotten it already. So go check it out on Audible if you like listening to your books. Very exciting. And then the other good news for you as my wonderful readers is that I have put all 3 of my standalone novels on sale as a celebration of my 20th anniversary. They're 99 cents on Kindle, so you can get A Bridge to Love, Shower of Stars, and or Music of the Night. They're all 99 cents on Kindle until the end of August, then when they will go back up to regular price. Okay, so let's show you photos. And the other thing I'm going to do is share both my most embarrassing moment as an author and my most humiliating moment as an author. They're actually 2 separate moments. Sadly, yes, had to live through both of them. There's a viewer here. Please comment so I know who you are. Okay, so photo time though. So this was taken on, can you see it? Whoever's there, comment and tell me if you can see it. This is me in my local Barnes & Noble the day A Bridge to Love was released, pointing to A Bridge to Love on the shelf. Can you see it? A Bridge to Love is on the shelf there. Don't I look so young? So much younger then. Gosh. So Barnes & Noble, the funny thing about this, taking this picture in Barnes & Noble is that a salesperson came running up when they saw the camera and said, "Oh no, you can't take pictures inside Barnes & Noble." We were like, what? Seriously? Do they have like government secrets here that we don't know about? But anyway, we had already taken this picture, so I had my picture. I was so excited because to see my book on the shelves of Barnes & Noble was just like the ultimate for an author. So that was the first day of me as an officially published author. It was really cool. Now for my first book signing. This was my first book signing, also at a Barnes & Noble, although not the same one. This one was south somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. So I'm in the red jacket. In yellow is the lovely Judy McCoy, who sadly is no longer with us. May she rest in peace. Ronnie Denholtz, who is still a New Jersey Romance Raiders member and a good friend of mine. And the tall person is Eloisa James, who was a member of New Jersey Romance Raiders. She now lives in New York. But how cool that I got to sign my book with her, right? So, oops, can you see it? So that's me as a newbie at my first book signing, and I had no clue what was going to happen here. So these ladies were so nice to me, really took me in hand, showed me the ropes. We even did a little panel before the signing, so I let them do most of the talking because I didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, that's us. I don't know, can you see that? It's really hard to, it's very reflective. My photos are shiny, so I apologize for that. So I wanted to show you this pretty display because my sister did this wonderful book launch party for me down in Virginia, at her house in Virginia. And how pretty is that table? She picked up the colors on the cover. It was just gorgeous. And it was so much fun. She had tons of people there and they all bought books and it's really exciting. So here is me doing, I think this was my first author talk, in fact. One of my first anyway. Right. Ugh, it's so hard to do this. This is me doing an author talk. I think this was at the South Orange Public Library. I don't know. Can you see? Sorry. Surprisingly hard to show photos. There. Is that better? And I was actually doing a talk that I used to do a lot called How to Judge a Book by Its Cover. And it was really kind of a tour of the romance genre. Ellen Hall, hi! Good to see you, Ellen. I'm so glad you're here. There's someone else here. If you would just comment and tell me who you are. Lisa! You remember me at the New Jersey Romance Writers Conference with my first book. Cool. I'm going to show some pictures of that. I remember you because we were at the same table for the reader luncheon, and you made these gorgeous bracelets that tied into your book. And so all the readers at the table got a bracelet, and then you made me one too, which I thought was incredibly nice of you. So I have never forgotten your kindness. And now Lisa and I chat a lot. She lives in Maine now, Lisa, in the frozen north, where it's even cooler than it is here, believe it or not. And she has chickens. So another author talk, except this one I was very proud of. This was at the Greenbrier Hotel, which is a world-famous resort in West Virginia where I grew up. It's about 10 miles from the town I grew up in. And it's sort of the ultimate, I mean, it's just a really fancy resort. So to be able to do a talk there, and I did a book signing there too. See, there we go. That's the book signing out in the hall of the shop. It's sort of like they have this little mall. So Lisa says, did I get to stay there? No, because it was 10 miles from my house. So I stayed with my parents, who still lived there then. But I got to hang out with the Greenbrier, and that was always a fun thing to do. What was I going to say? Something else about the Greenbrier. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So because it's in West Virginia, and they have this shop where I was signing carries books, a small rack of books for guests. They actually always carry my Whisper Horse books because, of course, my Whisper Horse books are set in West Virginia, and so the Greenbrier likes to have them available for their guests. So it's pretty cool. Every now and then, a friend of mine will go to the Greenbrier and will take a picture of my books in the shop. Woohoo! Lisa says, oh, too bad you didn't get to sleep where presidents and captains of industry have slept. Well, I actually have stayed at the Greenbrier. Just didn't stay there this time because I was staying with my parents. But I have had the privilege of staying there quite a few times, in fact. And it is just spectacular and gorgeous and wonderful and all the things you might imagine. Ellen says, those are such good books. I think you're talking about my Whisper Horse books, Ellen. Thank you so much. It was fun writing those. I went back to my roots, obviously, because that's where I grew up. And horses, my pony was a huge part of my life as a child and an adolescent. So those books were a great pleasure for me to write. And I'm very proud of them. And I'm very proud that the Greenbrier carries them. And there's also a store called Tamarack, which has 2 or 3 branches now, that's called The Best of West Virginia. So they carry things that are either by West Virginia artists and artisans, or talk about West Virginia. So they also always carry my Whisper Horse books. Yay! Okay, so another book signing. So this one was at my local bookstore in Lewisburg, West Virginia, which was the Open Book, which unfortunately is no longer open. But that was my hometown book signing, first one. I did another one there for Shower of Stars, I think, and I think that was it. And here, Lisa, so you will remember this. Actually, to be fair, you may not remember this. This picture is from 2004, to be fair. But it is at the New Jersey Romance Writers Conference. Up at the podium is me, even though it's hard to see. But I'm accepting the award, the Golden Leaf Award, for Best First Book, which was, of course, A Bridge to Love. So it was a great way to start off my career. And here I am at the book signing in 2004 with my Golden Leaf winner balloons. God, look how young I look. Ugh. Oh, to be that young again. Oh, you were there, Lisa. Oh, cool. Okay. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were there the first year or the second year. Very cool. And I put this picture, pulled this picture out because I wanted you to see. Can you see the bridge pin on my lapel there? There. Maybe it's better focused now. See the bridge pin on my lapel, the gold pin? So that was my Bridge to Love pin. And in fact, I gave away silver ones to if you sign up for my newsletter, like at a book signing, I would draw a name randomly and they would get a silver bridge pin. Wow, those were the days, because I had a great deal with the jeweler, to be fair. I guess he didn't sell a lot of bridge pins. So I bought them in bulk. And even though they were sterling silver, they were not ridiculously expensive. So somebody was telling me, oh, my friend Candy Shackett was saying she still has her bridge pins. So she won one. And let's see, I'm just going to look at comments here. Betty Joe Arnold is here. Hey, lady, good to see you too. I'm glad you made it. If anyone has questions, please type them in. I love questions. So, okay. So I also promised at the beginning to talk about my most embarrassing moment as an author and my most humiliating moment. So the most embarrassing moment. Oh, and by the way, I loved looking at all these pictures. They really took me down memory lane. There were more of them, but I just picked out the ones that I thought you guys would be interested in. So anyway, my most embarrassing moment as an author. All right, so I had signed my contract for A Bridge to Love, and my editor was this lovely lady named Allison. And back in those days, traditional publishers, she worked for Berkeley. This book was published by Berkeley, which is part of Penguin. I was trying to see if the insignia is on here. Oh yeah, here we go. Berkeley Sensation. Can you see that? It says Berkeley Sensation. It's not very in focus, but it's there. Traditional publishers would actually take their authors out to lunch at nice restaurants. So I went to New York to meet with Allison, and I live very close to New York, so it wasn't really a big deal to go to New York. But she took me to a very fancy seafood restaurant, which had ocean in the name. It's probably not there anymore, but it was like kind of an inn restaurant back then. They did sort of unusual seafood, I guess. Oh, I see someone else here. Bridget! Oh, Bridget! Hi! It's so fun to see you. Bridget and I met in person in Paris. Isn't that nice? When I was doing the romance festival there, the Festival du Roman Féminin. I think I pronounced that right. That was so much fun. Thanks, Bridget. So anyway, so Allison took me to this fancy seafood restaurant, and of course, you know, I was a first-time author. I was trying to impress my editor. I thought I would be really sophisticated, so I ordered. Well, for my main course, I ordered something normal. I don't remember what it was, but I decided that for my appetizer, I would order whelk. Whelk. I have never seen whelk on a menu before or since, and there's a reason for that. So my whelk appetizer comes, and luckily there wasn't very much of it. It was a small dish. And whelk is, you know, it comes in a shell that looks a little bit like a conch, and I like conch a lot. You know, like fried conch is great. But this was not conch. This was whelk. So I pop a bite of whelk into my mouth, you know, and I'm chatting with Allison, and it's just Allison and me. So the conversation is just between two people. And I start chewing, and the whelk is not responding to my chewing. And I keep chewing, and the whelk is still not responding to my chewing. And I have to answer Allison at this point, so I'll sort of shove it into one side of my cheek and kind of mumble an answer and then go back to chewing. Let me tell you, whelk is basically rubber pulled out of a shell. Do not ever order whelk. I mean, maybe they cooked it wrong or something, or it was bad whelk. I don't know. It tasted fine, but it was absolutely unchewable. So eventually, and this was the really embarrassing part, I had to spit it into my napkin. I mean, I was very subtle about it, but I mean, it was a cloth napkin, you know. It's kind of gross. And I had to leave it folded up in my lap with the whelk in it for the rest of the meal, and then I had to sort of push the whelk around on the plate before they took it away. So, word of advice, and it was just, I felt like an idiot, you know. I was trying to be so sophisticated, and I couldn't actually chew it enough to swallow it. It was crazy. So don't ever order Welk. The good thing is Allison still bought another book from me. That was Shower of Stars, was my second book with Berkeley, although it didn't look like this. It had a different cover, and it was mass market paperback back then. So she must not have noticed too much, or else she forgave me. And now on to my most humiliating experience as an author. And I mean, this was awful. So let me set the stage. It was July of 2003, so A Bridge to Love had not yet even been published. I was so new, the book wasn't even out yet, right? It was close, but it wasn't out yet. I was at the Romance Writers of America conference, which happened to be in New York City that year. Again, easy for me. And I was registering, and back in those days, I don't know if they still do it, the people who actually ran the office for RWA checked you in, and they had information. So the nice lady who was checking me in looked at the fact that I was a brand new author, and I've forgotten what else. I was, my book wasn't even released yet. And she said, hey, we have a reporter from the New York Post who wants to talk to a brand new author. Would you be interested in doing it? Oh, and she said, and do you have a copy of your book? So I had one precious copy of this book, one, because they hadn't released it yet, so I hadn't been able to get any more. They had just sent me the one, but I said, absolutely. I mean, the New York Post is huge, right? It's a giant New York newspaper. So I was like, of course I'll do it. And I raced upstairs and up the elevator, got my one copy of A Bridge to Love, raced back downstairs to meet the RWA PR person. And she did a little coaching. She said, be careful. Don't let them, they're going to take your picture. Don't let them take your picture in a bathtub, because evidently they talked some poor author into doing that a few years before, and that was obviously embarrassing. So she said, just make sure the pictures are all, professional. And she said, just be prepared for the bodice ripper questions, and the sex questions and the smut questions and all that kind of thing. And just keep it positive. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I can keep it positive, and I'll make sure I don't get in a bathtub, and no problem. So I go to the interview, and it's this really nice young man who, I'll be honest, asked fantastic questions. It was all very high level. There was no mention of smut so much. He asked about my background and what I had done before I became a romance writer, and it was great. Bodice and ripper were never mentioned in the entire conversation, and I came out of it feeling really good about the interview, and I told the nice lady from RWA that. I said, yeah, this is going to be a good one. And then the next day they sent a photographer over to take my picture, and we had these great pictures. Some of them were out on the streets of New York. I was in my business clothes. I looked very professional. Some of them were inside, in conference venues, not a bathtub in sight. So the article was coming out the next day after the photographs were taken. And obviously, I was very excited. I live near New York, so a lot of people I knew read the New York Post on their commute into the city, because it's a commuter town. And I thought, oh wow, they're all going to see me in the New York Post. This is going to be so cool. Now, they did tell me that the reporter had also talked to Nora Roberts and Jennifer Cruzy and I think somebody else, Julia Quinn maybe. So I wasn't expecting to get a lot of space in the article, but I was still really excited. So I raced down to the lobby the next morning where they have the newspapers, and I buy a New York Post, and I go ripping through all the pages to the section that they told me it was going to be in, which was New York Pulse, which was their arts and entertainment section. And this is what I see. Can you see this? Oops, I'm crooked. This is what I see. That's me. That's my face right there on that model. See? With glasses, page boy, and everything. So they just photoshopped my face onto this, and my name in giant letters onto this book cover that, of course, is a historical Western and I read Contemporary Sit in Manhattan. And the headline isn't bad. You know, writers meet and let the bodices rip is pretty typical. And then I am quoted actually several times in the article, and they took all of the quotes completely out of context and they combined them with a sex scene, a couple paragraphs of a sex scene that they pulled out of my book. Everything out of context. I have never, it made me understand how brutal it is to be interviewed by the press, who then spins it any which way they want to. So it was a little rough. My first thought was, oh my God, the nice lady at RWA is going to be so upset. Well, I went to find her and I said, and I took this and I said, I'm so sorry. I obviously didn't pose for this. She said, oh God, don't worry. There have been way worse. So she was completely philosophical about it. And my second thought was, oh my God, my mother-in-law is seeing this because she lived in New York. And yeah, she wasn't very happy about it. She wasn't unhappy about it because of me. She was unhappy that I was treated this way. So I have to say that other romance writers were incredibly sympathetic. The published authors who have been through similar treatment were incredibly sympathetic and pointed out that, so Nora Roberts is also quoted in the article, as is Jennifer Cruzy, and they pointed out that my name was way bigger than Nora Roberts's, so I should look on the bright side. And that, you know, any publicity is good publicity, but I'm not sure I agree with that in this case. It was awful. It was truly awful. I was so excited, and this is what I got. Now I can laugh about it mostly. But, you know, for a brand new author where I was just so excited that I was going to be in this major publication. And that's how it came out. My face on there. And as I said, it's not even the kind of book that I write. So, my most humiliating moment as an author. And it had to be the first year I was an author. So, that's, so Ellen Hall says that is too funny. Yeah, funny now. Not so funny then. Betty Jo Arnold says, at least they left the man in there. Yeah, good point. And he is good looking, so that's what somebody said. Who's your new boyfriend? And of course, people in town all thought it was a great joke. I had to smile. I did get over it eventually. Ellen says, where was your tiara? Yeah. I wasn't doing tiaras back then. I was a little more, it was more businessy back then because in those days there was no self-publishing. So when you went to an RWA conference, you went as a professional because you were meeting agents and editors there, as well as colleagues. So it was, as I said, I was in a business suit when they took that picture. Oh well, the wonders of Photoshop, right? So that's it for Memory Lane. I just want to remind you that I have other books on sale in the United States. The CEO buys in, the All-Star Ante's up, the VIP doubles down, Second Time Around, and Second Act are all on sale on Kindle for various prices that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're lower. And if you're in the UK, I have two books on sale for 99p each on Kindle, The Money Man and The Hacker. Why they don't have The Agent on sale too, I don't know. My publisher does those things without my input. They just tell me they're doing this. So anyway, lots of sales in August, and don't forget my standalone novels that I control the price too, so that's how I know they're going to be on sale all this month. So, How to Plan a Royal Wedding, the free novella that all my newsletter subscribers, and I'm assuming all of your newsletter subscribers will get in October, is all edited now. It's just waiting to be formatted. So it will definitely be out in October. I will be doing a cover reveal in September in my newsletter. And I designed the cover, so I'm pretty excited about revealing it. And I'm going to be asking you to click in order to see the cover. Why? You may wonder why. Ordinarily, I would just put it in the newsletter, right? But I am moving to a new newsletter service in September, And it's important when you first move to a newsletter service to show that your subscribers are engaged, and clicks show that you're engaged. So just this first time, just to show my new service that you guys like me, I'm going to ask you to click to see the cover. And I promise in the future you'll just get it right in the newsletter. But that's the dealio on that. And what else? Oh, I do want to mention that How to Plan a Royal Wedding contains significant spoilers. So you really need to read Royal Kaleva Gabrielle first. Otherwise, you're going to know who the bad guy is, because you find that out in How to Plan a Royal Wedding. Well, obviously, you also find it out in Royal Kaleva Gabrielle. But make sure to read this before you read How to Plan a Royal Wedding. And I do have spoiler alerts all over How to Plan a Royal Wedding, but I figure it's always good to reinforce. And then finally, I am working on Luis's book, The King of Kaleva. I told you last week that I was revising actually the first 125 pages because my critique group read the first 2 chapters and they had such great suggestions that I wanted to incorporate them. And of course, when you change things at the beginning of the book, it ripples all the way through. So at least I only had to ripple it through 125 pages instead of, 400 these are manuscript pages, so keep that in mind. It's only about probably half that number, maybe 75 pages of the book itself. So I'm still revising, but I'm almost at the end of revising. I think by tomorrow I should be moving forward with new scenes again, which is very exciting for me because moving forward is always more fun than revising. Revising is hard work, to be honest. I like doing it. I get into it, but I write very organically. So I'm what's called a discovery writer. I do not plot the book out ahead of time. I literally find out what's going to happen by writing the book. And as a result, it's very organic. One thing flows into the next and develops from the previous thing. So when I insert anything new or I make a significant change, it interferes with that sort of organic flow. And that's why it's particularly difficult to revise it, because I have to figure out how to make the flow continue to flow while incorporating something new. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. Bridget says, you are a pantser. Yeah, I'm a pantser. So the terminology is plotter, which means you outline the book before you start to a larger or lesser extent, or you write by the seat of your pants, aka pantser. But they've also sort of renamed pantser to discovery writer because you discover the story as you write. And I don't know, I've just adopted discovery writer because it sounds fancier. But yeah, I'm a pantser. Total, Bridget. Makes my life difficult. I'm not going to lie to you, because sometimes in my voyage, I take a wrong turn or I take a fork. Probably not a total wrong turn, but maybe a fork that turns out to be not a good fork. And then I have to go back to where I took the fork and move forward again. So I wish I were a plotter, honestly. So Bridget said, yes, sounds good, discovery writer. Exactly. It sounds better than pantser, right? Also, a lot of people don't actually know what pantser means. Bridget, you're an integral part of the romance community, so you know the terminology, but a lot of folks don't. So I figured discovery writer, we'll go with it. So Lisa says, conferences are to attend workshops, take notes, and diligently network to advance your career. Conventions, on the other hand, are where you throw glitter in your hair and dance with cover models. You don't expect that treatment at a conference. Good point. Although, to be fair, RWA has the reader component where they do the book signing, their giant literacy book signing, and I certainly could have worn a tiara there. I may do that at the next one if I manage to get back to that. In fact, I am going to be, I meant to tell you guys this, I'm going to be in Atlanta at the Moonlight and Magnolias Reader Luncheon, and I will be wearing a tiara there. Not only that, but anyone who buys a ticket to sit at my table will get a tiara to wear. So we will all be wearing tiaras at the Reader Luncheon if you sit at my table. I will put a link to the luncheon sign up in the comments below, because I'd love anybody in the Atlanta area. I'd love to see you there. And you're probably going to want to know when it is, and it's in October. And hang on 2 seconds, let me get my calendar. It is on October 14th. And again, I will put that in the notes. But if you're in the Atlanta area, come and see me. Or if you'd rather, there are tons of other authors who are going to be at the luncheon, and you can come and see them. I can't remember who's giving the keynote speech. Somebody wonderful is giving the keynote speech at the luncheon. It's gone right out of my head now. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of advertising because I completely forgot about it until just now. And I think that's everything I have to talk about. Does anybody else have questions? Oh, somebody's replying to Bridget. What was this? Oops, no, don't do that. All right, I'm afraid to touch anything because Facebook is touchy. So no questions, no comments, no further comments, I should say. Lots of good comments. Thank you guys so much for coming. It was so much fun to see everybody here and read your comments and just feel like I'm talking to you. It makes it a conversation, and I love that. So I will be posting this on my YouTube channel, as always, and I will be back next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. So please join me then. If you can't join me and you want me to answer a question that you can listen to later, just send me an email, pop it in the comments, whatever works for you. I will find it. I hope, anyway. I should be able to find it. So one more time with the noisemaker. Happy 20th publishing anniversary to me. And now I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you guys. Take care. Love you guys.